Welcome back. Good morning, Austin. My name is Dylan Bowman. I am joined here by the team from Merrell Footwear. Here, John Sanregret, the product line manager for trail running. Reid Burrows, one of the Merrell athletes. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Before we get to you guys, again, a big thank you to our sponsors in all of our shows here today. BOA Fit Systems, BOA Technologies. You guys know BOAFit.com. Best product fit system on the marketplace. John, starting with you. Man, we were just chatting in the elevator up here into the room. You're an OG from Merrell, so maybe just give a quick personal history with the brand and why you've stayed for such a long time.
Yeah, so I've been with Merrell 15 years. Most of it was on the sales side. So actually, quick thing is I started in customer service actually at the brand and then worked my way up through kind of a technical rep role and then into a sales rep role. And so had an opportunity to move back to Michigan. I was a sales rep in Southern California, moved back to Michigan, met my wife, and so I've been in product now for about 5 years. And so it's been an opportunity just to kind of, my passion was always been kind of sales and footwear and fell in love with it. And then during that journey, really fell in love with trail specifically. So the opportunity for me to kind of influence and work on the product line around trail for Merrell is just like a dream come true. So it's been an opportunity that I've loved and really shared with everyone that I think comes in contact with us. So the passion shows and just allowing that sales side and that product side to kind of come together has been awesome.
I want to come back to that in a second, but tell us a little bit about how long you've been working on the trail category specifically, because obviously Merrell is a bigger brand than I think a lot of people understand. How long were you focused on sales versus how long have you been focused on product?
Yeah, so on sales, it was like almost like a 10-year process or a 10-year span. And then, so about 5 years ago, I moved into an associate product line role. And then about 3 years ago as the head product line manager for trail. But yeah, we're a lot bigger and we're a lot more global. Most people don't realize that Merrell sort of is the same brand in a lot of different regions where it's not always the same for other brands. Like if you go to some place, you know, consumers are a little different. They perceive the brand a little differently. And like for Merrell in the APAC region and Latin America, Canada, and US and Europe, we're in some ways very similar. But working with those markets and working with those athletes has been fantastic.
So cool. Speaking of international, we've got a Canadian athlete.
Yes.
There, Reid Burrows. Reid, good to have you here, man. Maybe same question to you. What drew you to Merrell as a brand, and maybe give a quick background on that relationship?
Basically, I was racing a series that was sponsored by Merrell Canada in Ontario, which is where I used to live. I'm now based in Colorado. And it just started as like this ambassadorship, like, hey, we'll give you some free shoes. It's like, cool. I love running. Like, let's do that. And then it's just kind of grown really organically into now I'm a full-time athlete for them. I'm now here on a visa to run full-time. And they're supporting that dream, which has been like super sweet. And I think the biggest thing with the brand is there's not a lot of focus on performance. Like it's a very story-driven brand, and that excites me. Yeah. I'm very passionate and very hard on myself. I have really high standards, so like when the brand doesn't add any pressure to that, there's like so much freedom in like being able to just go out there and have fun.
Wow. Yeah. Very well said. And so, how long has that relationship been now?
Next year will be 4 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
John, so coming back to the sales conversation, this is something that I find interesting and that we've talked about a couple of times over the last couple of days with some of our guests, of having that sales experience, how that translates into a product role, like understanding what it takes to actually take a product into a retailer, into a wholesaler, and articulate the value proposition of it. How does that translate now into like actually coming up with the concepts from scratch?
Well, I always used to talk about like conversing or like talking to somebody about money is hard, even when we talk about our own finances. So going into a store, I love more of the specialty environment because it's you're talking to the owner or like the head buyer, and it's really kind of a unique sales rep to head buyer. But like anytime you're talking about money, like it's serious. And so I learned that through sales. And then when it kind of comes to the product side, it's like I really look at it about the value proposition. and the technicality and what we offer as a brand from a value perspective. And so that's really kind of the dollars and cents of it is where I think about it. I can rarely have to take my sales hat off and then put my product hat on. They're almost kind of one hat. So that experience has driven that, but it's always something in the back of your mind that, like, you know, we always sometimes lose the human element of, like, who's that runner that's going to come in and actually take that off the shelf and get a box, open the box, and how does that inspire them to actually get out there and do what they do on the trails. So that's the way I kind of think about it, is like those people.
And that's such an important moment, isn't it? When somebody goes into the stock room and grabs a box, it's like, what do they feel when they open that box and hold the shoe for the first time before they pull the stupid paper out of it and try it on? Right?
Or what are those, you know, what does the retail associate feel like when they go in there and they're offering multiple choices or like offering their expertise? Like, how does that interaction go?
Yeah.
And what would you want them to say if you were with them in that moment is the way that we think about it. Like those details are important.
One of the things I'd love to get both of you to chime in on here is just like the trail category, the trail market as a whole. I think it's really interesting. This is my first time at TRE, but obviously been in the game for a long time and have just been observing this influx of brands into the space. And it's been really exciting, obviously, especially for those of us who are trying to make a living within this small niche sport. But, you know, from a brand perspective, it makes things more competitive. It makes, you know, people push innovation. There's a lot of good that comes from it, but also, you know, it is a competitive marketplace. How are you thinking about Merrell's place within the sport right now? Is the pie getting bigger, or is it getting harder to kind of cut through?
I think the pie is getting bigger. I think the one thing that we've gotten outside of is this idea that we have to continue to innovate in a way that other brands are. Like the fact that we're creating almost in some ways like a sub-brand in our MTL test lab product, which is what we have today. Like that's really how do we take our athlete feedback and our driven direction from them. And it's really this data. It's funny because it's like a data-driven approach, but it's like real life opportunities. Like, Reid, what do you think? Like, what do you need to do what you do, and what races are you looking at? And then how does that relate to product? And then it's what we're finding as well is like, how does that then relate to other product we create? So it's like this waterfall effect of like just driving the brand in the space. The athlete feedback and the consumer feedback is really where we're taking all of our information, which is awesome.
Reid, then chime in there too, like both in the macro sense, generally about the space, and then how you as the athlete try and help John and the rest of the Merrell team understand the market, the culture, the community in a way that'll help it be successful in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing is I do think trail running is going to take over the world, like, or save the world.
Save the world. Save the world.
Yeah, it's huge, right? It's growing. Everyone's super interested. I think the biggest thing with Merrell is like getting more people in the shoes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that we have like really cool and really fast shoes that are like out, like on the market. And then there's other stuff that's happening behind the scenes that's like super exciting. Like I'm working on a project right now for a more like higher stack cushion racing shoe for like 100-mile distance and stuff. And like that project it's a long process. Like we're now 14 months into this. And it was just something I needed that we didn't have in our line yet. So I approached them and here we are. We're like getting a lot closer to where we need to be for it to go to market. But yeah, it's just been super cool. But I think the biggest thing is we just need more people in the shoes. Like that's ultimately what I think that our biggest.
And if that's the challenge, you know, it's achievable, right? It's just, it becomes a matter of marketing and engaging with the community and activating the brand.
And I think the other thing that I think about is like, how do we stay true to the sport? You know, like I think that sometimes gets lost as well. It's like, it's a category. It's an outdoor category. It's something that's more extreme than maybe road running in some people's minds, but there's also the sport element. And I think staying true to that and the people that like the purity of that sport
You know,
side is
it's
awesome.
interesting you say that because we've been talking as a team and with other people, not on the show, but just sort of privately about how hard it's been for those sort of bigger performance brands or whatever to come into trail running authentically, right? And Merrell does come more from that outdoor DNA than some of the bigger performance brands. And that's just like such an important thing is like just, keeping the culture and the community front of mind. Let's talk about some product. You guys brought some cool things here. So maybe, just pick them up. Tell us anything that we need to know, when they're coming to market, what specific application they're meant to serve.
So I think starting with this one here, this was driven out of a sponsorship we had with the Sky Masters and the Sky Running races in Europe. So there's a Canadian event. There's also a Japanese event. We can look it up. But like in sponsoring that and having a group of athletes that were running those races, we felt like, is there an opportunity to equip them with the best shoes we can make and potentially, no pun intended, give them a leg up on the competition? And while it's a super niche event and sport within trail running, like sky running is an awesome opportunity to express the technicality needed. And what they were saying is really, I think this gets tossed around a lot, but like the track spike for the trail idea.
Yep.
But this really solves that. And through that process, what we realized is lightweight, stripped away, but still protective. That balance is really what gives them the most opportunity to succeed in a sport like a VK or sky running. And so what you have is a 7-ounce shoe for a men's size 9, which is one of the lightest trail shoes on the market, that still has a 5 mil lug design. It has a full TPU or polyurethane plate that goes through it.
Really well.
Or polyester, excuse me. And we call it BZM8. It's kind of popular in some football boots or soccer cleats, depending on which country you're talking about.
Yep.
And then, this iteration that we've just launched or will launch in 24 has a matrix upper. So it really enhances that breathability and durability. Also, there's a sustainability component.
Yep.
With Matrix, you're actually able to take some pattern pieces away. So there's less actually going into the shoe, but you have a better performance shoe overall. So
the name of the shoe and when the consumer can expect to see it in their local retail shop.
MTL Skyfire 2 Matrix. You can see this starting in February of 24, and it's $210 from an overall U.S. Sales perspective.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool.
I think like the biggest, like just to add on what he's saying, it was built for VKs, but it's like, it's in my rotation every week.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like this niche, like, hey, we're going to wear it for like the Get FKT event. And like, they're going to be like a PR thing for someone like me who's running 100-mile distance. I'm in Colorado now and I'm using it 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Like,
do like your hill repeat sessions and stuff.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But even like steady state stuff, if it's uphill, I'll use the shoe, like anything under 2 hours. So.
Rad. Cool. Thanks for that, Reid. Maybe show us the other shoe too.
Yeah. So then the other shoe is the Long Sky 2, which the Long Sky 2 Matrix, which was a shoe we had actually made a few years back with Ragna. She wanted a 4 mil drop. She wanted the mega grip. She was doing more than just the Skymaster.
Ragna DeBots for our viewing audience, absolute legend trail runner.
Yeah, so just won a golden ticket.
Yep. Just won a golden ticket at Javelina.
Yep. And so she'll be running in Western States, but she wanted a shoe with a little more stack, the 4 mil drop, and then we've added, again, the Matrix upper to this to really enhance the overall fit, drainability, and then, like I said, that sustainability piece. So this one's more in the 160 range, so a little more achievable. There's no plate. There is that 5 mil lug design with the chevrons and mega grip. So this thing is a monster on the trail, and really is suited for a lot of different mixed racing. I don't know, like, she can race in this and Reid can race in this 100 miles, but like, I think there's another step above this that we're working on now that
maybe we'll talk about that here as we...
But yeah, this is an exciting design just because this shoe was a little bit older. So adding a few features has really revolutionized this one. So
Reid, anything you want to add to that?
So yeah, I've raced hundreds in the Long Sky too. So I think the biggest thing for me with the Matrix upper, like the update, is durability is insane. I really go through a lot of shoes. I run a lot of miles, and I can't break them. Like I'm trying to.
Yeah.
And like
He's
I
obsessed
can't.
with breaking
I'm
that
obsessed with breaking them. Like I can't wait to send a picture to the product development guys and be like, hey, I broke it.
Finally.
My foot finally went through it. I have like almost 400 miles on a pair right now with no signs of wear, and they still feel like really responsive, which I think is like a really, as like a person who's representing the brand, when I'm telling friends to like go out and try a shoe, I just have a lot of buy-in with it.
It's interesting. I mean, you know, what you were just saying about like, you know, the challenges now, like getting the shoes on people's feet, as you guys showed me these shoes here just a second ago. It's the type of product where you have it in your hand and you can like feel that it's a really technical, high performance type product, both of them. So really exciting to see this sort of advancement and innovation from Merrell. Maybe as we start to wind down, Reid, tell us about this top secret project that you're working on. Anything that you can reveal that's not confidential?
I don't know too much that I'm not supposed to say or supposed to say, but basically, like I was looking for like the big brother to this line.
It would fit perfectly. Right.
Like
Just
I have them on my feet right now. But it's been a project where I think the North American market, you're looking for a really fast plated shoe that's cushioned. Like Leadville is kind of what I'm obsessed with right now, and it's just the perfect shoe for it. But it's the perfect shoe for JFK, and you don't have to do a shoe change. It's the perfect shoe for like any, like I haven't not raced in it in the last 14 months. Like anytime I'm on the start line, I'm in some iteration of what we're working on because I'm just that stoked about it. And it just feels like my project, my baby. I feel like my feedback's actually gone into some of the stuff that's gone into these shoes, which is also really gratifying as an athlete and just representative of the brand. It's like we're not having meetings and they're just throwing the notes away after the meeting. It's like it's going into product that's coming out.
Very cool. I'm just remembering that you just mentioned Leadville, and I think you just punched your ticket back to Leadville 2024. Where it was here in Austin, wasn't it?
It was,
the Austin Radler. Second place just a couple weeks ago. Maybe quickly tell the people about that before we wrap up.
Like first half of the season wasn't going super well, and I just moved up to Colorado in the mountains and just like reset my season. And I took over the lead from JP really early on, like a little bit of probably not the most calculated move in the race this year. And I just, the second I like that feeling that I got the second I took over the lead, I was like, I have to come back. Like I have to figure out how to win this thing. I ended up 8th overall there, and I started looking at like, how do I come back, and found this thing called Austin Radler. I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up for that. And I ended up coming second, which I was super stoked on. It was a nice way to end the season and my first actual podium as a professional, which has been like super cool.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
John, any closing comments from you about how people can learn more about Merrell or anything else coming down the pipe?
Yeah, I think just go to our Instagram at Merrell and really check us out. I think there's, like I said, there's the Merrell Test Lab, which is really all about hearing that feedback from the athletes. It's funny, like quickly, like Reid, the first time we got on the phone with him, I was like, hey, what do you think about the shoes? And he's like, they're terrible. I don't like them. And I was like, okay, this guy is very unique. He's going to speak his mind. And so to hear him, like when he tells the story about how like I'm obsessed with these shoes and like I love them, and we've come so far from where his original opinions were, and how much that feedback, I just affirm like how much that feedback has been so valuable to us. Certainly come check us out. And it's more about the journey too, like where we're going ahead, being true to the sport and really creating our place in the trail running realm of things. So it's been awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on and sharing the story. John Sanregret, Reid Burrows, product line manager, professional athlete from Merrell. Appreciate you guys for making the time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.